Hi, sorry, it's been a couple weeks since I posted a video, so I thought I'd put a couple up today, hopefully. The first one I'm going to get into is actually inspired by a comment that I had posted that was given by David Kepke. I hope that name, I pronounced it correctly. So his comment was interesting, and what struck out for me is the concept he spoke to about his participation in sports and how that helped, for some reason, navigate through the difficulties of the dynamics in school settings and that type of thing. And I'm paraphrasing here, so David, I hope that's what you're inferring. So anyways, from my perspective, I found that very interesting because I myself also come from quite a sports background. And also David references that he was in varsity and that type of thing. So he went into a higher level of competition with the sports he played. So for myself, I also had a similar situation where I ended up going into more competitive realms of sports, and I'm going to make my reference, most of this actual video is going to be examples and a little bit of thought that goes into why I feel that maybe INTJs benefit from sports if they are so inclined for sports. So for myself, my sport of choice was volleyball. And for myself, that was basically due to the fact that I was very tall very early. So definitely gymnastics wasn't going to be part of my portfolio. So with myself, my example is I was 5'11" when I was in grade 7 and gawky and no control of my all of my faculties when it comes to being coordinated. And I had, luckily enough, in my life, a mentor who was a friend of the family who had played for the national volleyball team. And he made a point of saying, you can't coach height, but you can coach skill. So he took it upon himself to take time out of his own day to work with me and work on these skills that I was not coordinated enough to fully get a hold of. But there was a patience there and an ability to see past the current situation to see where there could be potential. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that for myself, when I was even in grade 7, and I did not know anything about INTJ personality types, the idea of risking myself into something that was new, scary, using weaknesses that I had in order to build them into strengths, and seeing myself fail over and over and over again while I learned this skill was very difficult. So for myself, the thing that I found very encouraging was this mentor did not give up on me. He made sure that I held my accountability. I couldn't just walk away, and I had to make sure that I was dedicated. He didn't care if I wasn't improving as fast as he wanted. He just wanted to make sure that I was dedicated. So the thing that I come to with this piece is that it was something that allowed me to be vulnerable in this type of early socialization and taught me some of the skills about being a team atmosphere. So the idea of you don't give up on your players, you don't, the lowest common denominator is what's going to make or break your team. You have to work together, those types of traits. And as an INTJ, beforehand, I wouldn't have necessarily taken those traits to heart. I may have gone more in towards something that was more individual. But gaining that information and how I learned about myself and was very instrumental for me in socializing. So getting again to David's reference towards his experience with sports, I found that sports carried me through the rest of my high school and into university. Because of that understanding and confidence in one piece of yourself, when you're going into different situations, you know that you have a group of like-minded individuals that are there with a team mindset. If you are in competitive sports, you won't last long. If you, as a team type of sport, if you don't have a team-minded mentality. So the best thing that ever happened was that mentor coming in and helping me, because it allowed me to almost have a buffer between me trying to make sense of the world through a lens of the security and competitiveness. I mean, they're not always, happy, especially when you get into competitive sports. You're competing to get on a spot. So, but at the end, you become a cohesive group, or you have to try and make a cohesive group, or else you fail as a team. So what I find interesting is that the INTJ profile could lend some interesting facets to the idea of teamwork. So I would assume INTJ would logically go again towards, say, individualized sports, because you are the only one that is going to reap the rewards, not in the way that you're looking for status, but you're able to produce whatever you produce is a result of all the work you've put in. But working in a team environment, you are not allowed to do that, because you have to ensure the team builds. You can't just rely on yourself. So I find that for my perspective of sports, the INTJ inner drive is really important, I think, for a team dynamic. For myself at least, you're not looking to be, you want to be a leader, but you don't care necessarily if you have to be the captain, because you don't want to take the responsibility of that type of thing. And I'm speaking for personal experience. Others can definitely leave comments if they had a different experience. For me, it was the idea that it's a different difficulty in using skill sets that are part of a feeling and emotional process, but using your analytics in order to drive your team to be the best and optimize the best they can. And your inner drive is, for myself anyways, it's almost like you're compelled to make your team feel that inner drive in themselves, so that it makes it easier to become more successful as a team. Because for myself, coaching is not a strong suit for me at all. So I want to work through, say, the idea of showing a certain amount of character when I'm on the court in this case. And I mean, we all have ups and downs when it comes to character, but it definitely builds character when you're on a team. The other one that I was going to mention is the idea of succeeding on a task. So it was very important for me. I was frustrated when I get back to, say, when I was younger, on the idea that I wasn't doing well and I wanted to give up, but this person wouldn't let me. And so I took it upon myself to watch video tapes of different matches and practice. But it's that inner drive that goes to making sure that you can actually check that thing off your list, that you've succeeded on this. You can't just let it go and walk away. So it's kind of creating something with yourself. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes here. And the other thing is about this, for myself, the seriousness of my personality. So I would assume that it's difficult to coach someone like myself as an INTJ, because I question everything. I want to optimize. I don't want to have things repeated to me. So it's difficult because I'm challenging the coach, which is not coachable. However, there's the other side where it is coachable in the way that you're serious. And when you're there, you're taking the time to do it. So you mean business, and you're not just killing time and wasting your coach's time. You want to make the best of it. So you're pushing the boundaries, but you're also very dedicated for the time that you're there. And then also, just overall, sports in general for females, and I don't know about INTJs. It'd be interesting to hear how many INTJs that are viewing this actually are a part of sports, team sports, I should say. But because you see the decline in sports with females, and it does tie to building strengths according to some studies, you can take that for what it is. But it's something that it did resonate with me. So thanks, David, for mentioning that about yourself and your experience with that. And like always, leave comments. And if you have any video requests, again, put video request in your comment. I do write them down, so I will eventually get to them. It's just working around family right now. So thanks so much.